Welcome. We are live, and somehow Warren, not me, organized it that we could do a Facebook Live side by side. The guy's brilliant like this. It's called Be Live. So this is going to be a lot of fun.
So no more excuses for you and I not being together, even though we will be in 35 days. 35.
Tell them where you're moving, Warren.
In 35 days, I'll be in Utah.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're going to be live in Utah.
That's going to be exciting because then we can be live, actually truly be live.
Yeah.
So look, I couldn't do part 3 on mold without Warren because him and I lived this together. We did.
Multiple moldy homes.
Multiple moldy homes. And I said this in part 2. And I made
mold damage. Every home we've been in.
Mold didn't make either of us sick. However, we became so sensitive to it, it was keeping us sick. And we know that we have to control. It's our number one. We have to control our sources, and mold becomes a real problem. And I'm not going to reiterate that. If you haven't watched part 1 and part 2, please go back to see that. You can click on videos on my fan page, and all of those are there. But we did this together, literally. We learned everything from pain to purpose in this because both of us had homes that were making us sick, from chemicals to new of carpet, whole story there, and mold in our HVAC system.
With the new carpet.
Yeah. How many hours do you think we put into this? And how many hours do you think we put into our attics, right? I mean, we literally had.
My attic, I had 72 hours. I think you probably had about 500. And every time I call him, he was in. Where's Dan, Marilee? He's in the attic again.
Yeah, exactly.
This is going to be hello from New York. Hi, Rose. So Rose, everyone else saying hi, make sure you share this one. This is great information. It's going to save lives. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to show you some of the, let's call them mold hacks, because that's the new thing today. Health hacks, this hack, that hack. We're going to give you some mold hacks that we use. And I'll show you everything in the next 20, 25 minutes, everything that we have done. And we'll mention some things that didn't probably make it over to our new homes that didn't go with us, but I'll actually show you some of the units that we've ripped out and I still have, like a dehumidifier, an inline dehumidifier that I ripped out of, we ripped out of Dan's house before he moved. And then I have the air exchanger, like every tip and trick you need to do. I'm going to show you 2 different mold killing agents. I'm split screen. So 2 different mold killing agents that we use on top of concrobium. We'll name some others you can get your local stores, but we have a lot of, hey, Carrie, make sure you share this, like the page, because that makes it go viral. Love seeing all these people on here. We're going to transform your life tonight. So we're even going to show you a little water damage just for fun. I
like about the system, I actually can read the questions better, right? I mean, it's like kind of right in front of your face, whereas when you're doing the phone, it's across, you're looking, it's hard.
Yeah, you can do solo Be Lives. Hey,
ask questions.
Hey, Ricardo. Yeah, so this is going to be awesome. So where do you want to start? I don't think we want to start with the water damage, Dr. Pompa. Where do you want to start?
Let me start by giving a preview, and then that will get you positioned where you need to go. But okay. And I want you to show them the holes in your ceiling to show that we've lived this from every aspect. And
you're the mold sniffing dog that found that.
West in this drier environment, life got a whole lot easier with making home safe. But in the humidity of the East Coast, Pittsburgh, is where we were from. We battled humidity levels. That's why dehumidification in those types of areas should be part of your strategy. Another part of your strategy.
Yeah, so one thing, I probably won't get back to this, but one reason I am moving, I said this at the beginning of the broadcast, is because I want to go to an arid environment where I just do fantastic, because it's not another insult on my immune system. I go out west, I sleep through the night, I feel amazing. A lot of the problems that I have, go away. So that's another thing. Moving, if you're a mold sick, you have the HLA-DR gene. Is that how it is? I haven't said that in a while. HLA-DR, is that what it is? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have that susceptible gene. So one of the strategies you can use, move to a moldy place. That's why I'm moving to Utah too, says Sean. So it's dry. It has Utah's a great place. You should join us. They have great, if you're conservative, they have great gun laws. They might not be you, but we all have a choice. Thank God we're in America still. They're like Texas. They're rolling in cash. I mean, it's a great, and the most important thing, I know this is off topic, well, this is on topic, it's mold-free living. And let's show you how to live mold-free.
Well, let's talk about humidity because, okay, dehumidification, he'll show you a unit, right? And you can hook up
two different units
in line. Of course, you can have portable units, you know, especially in basements, dehumidifiers should always be running. But you can hook up units to your whole house system. Now, this is, especially in more humid areas, here you don't need it, there you do. The coil is where some of the problems lie. And what happens is that when you're bringing in humid air, it creates moisture on the coil, and that moisture then feeds mold on the coil. So putting different things, and I talked a little bit about that, but you can use UV, but there's some newer advances that Warren will show you that keeps the mold off the coil. Another tip is keep your fan running constantly.
Yeah.
When you have it on auto, it's going on and off. It's in the off stage that the mold actually is able to settle in there. And then, of course, once we find, you know, many people have mold within their the HVAC ductwork, and then the question becomes, how do we sterilize it without using something very toxic and poisonous? Because how many people, right, Warren, have the guys come out and they spray their ductworks and they're sick and they can't even go in their home for months. So
yeah, the antimicrobials or the antifungals can really, really make you sick. And there's some good ones out there.
Toxic antifungals that work. Warren will share you those that we've used him even more than I, that he's had to use because he's run into some major issues, right?
Right.
So anyways, so those are two things. And then lastly, so I'm kind of setting up what we're going to show you. Lastly, it's air return ventilation. When you become very chemically sensitive, and this helps with mold too, you want to positively pressurize your house. What it means is if we're bringing in constant fresh air like the old homes did, they were just leaky. They were constantly, recirculating air, which was bad for your bill at the end of the month, but it was great for better air quality and even better for mold, believe it or not. So now we seal homes. We trap in humidity and moisture even within walls.
Right.
That's an issue. So we want to bring in fresh air and circulate stale air out. And these ventilator systems do that. And then with it, you can bring in a little more air than you're taking out. And what that does is it positively pressurizes your home. So now the pressure is going this way. So
it's like a balloon.
Right. If you do have
a little air, a little hole in the balloon, it's blowing out. So none of the toxins are coming in. They're all going out.
Exactly. So
I feel like that's more important for a new home than it is anything else. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, no doubt. A home that's, under 4 years old, definitely a home that's 2 years old or younger, the formaldehyde from the insulation in the walls, when it's positively pressured this way, it's coming in. And people get very sick from it. So we want to positively pressure the house from the inside out, and these systems can do that, keeping your VOCs, volatile organic compounds, in a much lower level. So it brings in fresh air, positively pressurizes to keep the toxins from your attic and walls that way, and it also creates circulation that's better for humidity and mold.
Yeah, there's studies that show if you leave your window open in a safe environment, you got to watch. You can bring a lot of humidity, and that's the difference that these air exchangers or their heating HRV, heating ventilation exchange HVE and HVR, heating ventilation return. I can't remember the analogy, but essentially they take the humidity out.
Heating return ventilators, and then there's ERV, energy return ventilators.
Yeah,
and some are better for humidity. The ERVs. I think they're generally just a little bit better. HRVs exchange some moisture a little bit better, but I feel like sometimes—
I think a moisture membrane. I actually ripped the unit apart downstairs. Maybe I should start walking downstairs. We have a lot to show them.
Start walking downstairs, and I want to state one more.
I'll start walking. And I want to have record on this. This is going to save some lives, so get out there and share it. I want to have since
no doubt,
live and on the show. And there's something in my ceiling that I'll show you later, because sometimes that gets people excited if they see holes in ceilings. But see, there's some— where is that? The blue tape that you see? Yeah. That's a big hole in the ceiling, and that's a big hole in the wall.
Well, tell them how that leaked.
Well, that was a bathtub. That'd be the bath, Bob.
Yeah, okay. So what leaked? What leaked?
Actually, what leaked there? Let me think. Oh, yeah. This is a very, 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 very common leak that you're going to find in your homes. The jet bathtubs, the jets, not the air jet, the air ones. Those are nicer and they don't leak, but the old plumbing you know, sauna tubs. Yeah, water, you know, with the, what do you call it, babe? The water jets. Those things leak slowly, and they cause all kinds of problems. So bad news, Betty. So anyway, keep going, Dan. I'm down here when you need me.
Then the last thing, and this is probably the most common question I get, what about air filtration? I'm going to say this. You know, if you have mold, you know, air filtration is not going to filter biotoxin. You're talking about 400 to 1,000 angstroms, very tiny. It will filter out spores, but it won't filter out the toxin. We talked about that in part one. There's a difference. So I'm not against air filtration by any means. You know, however, just understand that you're not able to filter out the toxin from the mold. So by putting that in, it's not like you're going to have fresher air. So, however, we do recommend the better air filtration systems. And, you know, Warren can show you what he has there.
I don't have in this home. In my other home that I have one. This one I don't, but I have a MERV 11 with carbon in it. Mm-hmm. And I change it all the time. I change it every 2 months. So, by the way, everyone, I'm moving, so it's a mess in this place. I can show you my you know, I said at the beginning of the show, I'm moving. It's the real deal. That's my boat. That's my pride and joy right there. Bass boat. Everybody's got to have their thing.
MERV 11?
What?
MERV 11 is about the, you know, the most you can buy at a Home Depot or something. When you add a carbon in it, now you're able to pick up some chemicals because carbon will bind chemicals. They also sell IQ Air is a system that makes carbon block standalones that you can add to any rooms, especially the one you sleep in, that when we were chemically sensitive, we needed. And what was the cheaper version that we found with the big carbon blocks?
Oh, the better units, they're made out of powder-coated. They're powder-coated air filters, and they have like up to like 50 pounds of carbon in them. They're great. They're not April Air. It's a company out of Canada. What the heck? But they're powder-coated. Even the motors that run the air through the carbon are completely sealed in MCS, multi-chemically sensitive people. Like a lot of the motors still put off off-gassing, and it's a real problem.
I had the IQ Air, so that's why I don't remember the name.
My wife knows. Rebecca, yeah. What was the name of them? They're Aller Air, just like allergy, Aller Air.
Aller Air.
I think we still sell those on our web, on that, one of them, maybe on revelationhealth.com. So I think we still have them available. But they can find them elsewhere too. But we'll hook you up if you call our office. But let's
Aller Air, cheaper. If you're chemically sensitive, the carbon you need a lot of it. The Aller Air was cheaper than the IQ Air, but
it's way built better. Let me tell you the story about that. I woke up one night with from one of my dreams on if I was going to build the perfect carbon thing. I'm like, this is all this fancy stuff and buttons on the other one with the which one you just said?
IQ Air.
The IQ Air. I'm like, that's just like way overkill. I just need carbon and filtration. I don't care about like just give me a knob and let's turn it on. I designed one, wrote it down in my dreams, and it's almost exactly what the Aller Air is. And I'm not even lying about that. Why would I lie anyway?
Let me tell you something. I know we're going to get asked about HEPA. HEPA is good if you have allergies, right? Outdoor allergies. It helps with those particles, the spores, no doubt. What we're talking about with the carbon is getting rid of the stuff that really causes health problems. And that's the volatile organic compounds, the chemicals. You need carbon for that. And of course, they actually have units that IQ Air makes for whole house. They do make those, right? And I don't know that Aller Air makes, but the cheaper way to go is buy the standalone units that you know put in your bedroom where you sleep. In the main room that you stay, you can put one, and they'll filter the air of chemicals. Now, the energy return ventilators, bringing in the fresh air, really makes a difference for our chemically sensitive people because it's bringing fresh air in and bad air out. So again, it drops the chemical amounts in the air, and removing chemicals from the air really changes the environment. Again, especially in your homes. So I'm just trying to get you to understand the difference of filtration. HEPA, think allergies. When we're dealing with health, think these carbon filtration units, exchange ventilators, bringing in fresh air, bringing stale out. That's what we want. Yes. Okay, Warren, you're in where you want.
The solution to pollution is dilution, right?
Yeah, pollution is dilution. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, and they didn't teach us that at Allegheny College in Meadville. They just said get rid of all. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. So here we go. Here is my current, see if I'm showing everyone correctly. So this is, I'm going to start off with the coil. My coil, Dr. Pompa, can you see where the coil would be? Are you looking right here? Yeah.
Yep, it's where there's
my coil's at, right? And then right above that coil, what you're going to see is a Sabre Genius. You see that? That right there sits above the coil, and this is by Sanuvox. I believe this is the best product out there from Sanuvox. This gets installed right above your coil, so not only does it have the UV light, but it also puts out hydroxyl groups. And unlike other units, they're a very stable hydroxyl molecule, and they do a number of things. One is they will burn up not only mold spores and kill allergens, but they'll also destroy VOCs. And that sits right above the coil and crushes the mold.
So it takes care of mold on the coil. It actually, these hydroxyl groups, it's an OH group, you don't have to worry about that, but it attaches even to chemicals, not just mold, and it destroys them. It breaks them down. So again, it makes the air more chemically fresh, and it also keeps the mold off the coil. And the hydroxyl groups go through your HVAC, the ducts, and it keeps mold from forming in the ductwork. Because here's a big mistake, Warren.
I have two of these units. This one's actually made with a lower amount of hydroxyl groups, so it doesn't go through all your ductwork, just kind of in this chambered area. And that's what I like about these Sanuvox.
Hydroxyl units can be oxidative if they get out of your unit into your home. You don't want that.
Yeah, and so you got to size it right, and that's why I did two. I did this one. This is mainly to keep that coil clean, and it does do a little bit of VOC reduction and cleansing just in this little area. But the add-on that I have with this is this next unit. So this keeps the coil clean and does some of that work. But this unit down here, this is the Sanuvox RI700GX. Do you see that?
Yep.
What's nice about this unit, it's not on right now, this is the air purification system. And unlike, there's some other units we used to get, Dr. Pump, and I know that some HVAC guys are still selling them. These ones last longer or are sized better. And this one has a little disruption fan in it. So when the air, this is clean air, this is return air. So air's coming back from my returns. You know your returns in your house. I think everybody knows that. A return is where the air is getting sucked. It's coming through. So this is the old air that's getting ready to be clean. It actually cleans it up that's being sucked, especially in homes in Pennsylvania where they don't have to run ductwork. They just run the returns through the between the drywall and the 2x4s, which is ridiculous. I mean, you grow mold if you get any dampness in your air. You're growing mold. You're right on drywall. It's ridiculous. It should be outlawed. But we're not far enough south. If you go a little further south in the requirements, you cannot run returns in through the drywall. But anyway, so you have that air coming through. It's picking up because when you're in a drywall and between those 2x4s, you're pulling attic air, bro, because there's massive leaks. So that stuff's coming down toxic and full of VOCs from your attic. And then it gets cleaned by these hydroxyl groups in this Sanuvox. I think it says RI700GX, and there's some newer versions of this. And it has a disruption fan in it, slows the airflow down. And again, this is set up perfectly so that it doesn't put too many hydroxyl groups into your air and cause any oxidative stress on you, the person. Sanuvox does a great job of that. Then it comes down through and then into my filter down here. And then the reason I didn't put a good filter in here, Dan, is not because I was lazy and didn't want the best when it comes to my family and health. It would have been a great investment. Would you know, I don't care how much it costs. I would save up and make sure I put a good air filtration in here. But this seals completely when it starts sucking. So this seals off completely. So it does seal really well. And there's my filter.
Yeah.
I didn't have enough room to put one of those big Aller air filters in there. So I have that MERV 7 in there with carbon. And that's my HVAC unit. So I'm cleaning my air, killing off VOCs, filtering the air, running it through the unit, cooling it or heating it up through here. And then here's the coil. And then it's making sure the coil's clean, and I'm doing a final cleanup there with the Sanuvox. This is just a tube light. And that's my unit. I hope that's helping people.
It shines the light on the coil and it prevents the mold from forming. Now, here's a pitfall. This is one of the reasons we spend a lot of time in our attics. So you go up in attics and these HVAC guys they do a very poor job of inhaling the duct in these attic spaces. Number one, then the returns pull that needs holes.
I lost you. You're paused on it.
You would smell it. You could literally smell it.
You're talking about formaldehyde in your...
Hear me?
You were chopping up on me. I don't know if anyone else is... Get some feedback from the audience. We had a little bit of drop-off there, so... Can people hear us?
Yeah, I have to kick Marilyn off the internet because I lose power. Okay. I have weak transmission in this house. Anyway, so
make sure that we can see, guys. Let us know. Yeah, Sean, you're always there.
What I was saying, can you hear me?
Yep. Trevor says, yep. Thanks, Trevor.
You have to make sure, whether you do it yourself or you have someone go up and make sure those things are always sealed. Here's the problem. Chemicals.
Oh, yeah. So you're saying make sure that all your return ducts are sealed.
Right. 2 reasons. The second reason is they're into cold from the HVAC. You're forming moisture. And that's one of the big reasons making sure that your ductwork is cold. The reasons we spent hours into our attics because we were making sure of that all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I was up there with silicone sealing. Dan's breaking up. Trevor said that's an issue because we're having viewers drop off because of it. So
I know we're getting a lot of people.
No one's on the internet. Well, I'll show them. I'll show them my stuff while you do that. And all you missed, guys, is Dr. Pompa saying make sure that your return up in your attic, your returns are sealed. So here's the exchanger, Dr. Pompa. This is a I don't know what brand this was. So this was for about a 3,000 square foot home. This is a bigger one, if you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
See that? One of these is where it sucks fresh air in and then blows it out and exchanges it across. And then this other one, it'll crisscross and suck air out of your home and blow it out. So you have 2. One that's sucking air in. I almost dropped my computer. One that's sucking air in from fresh air from outside. It'll exchange it across a membrane, take the humidity out, blow that fresh air in your home. Another one, this one's sucking air out through another fan, sucking it out of your home, and then blowing it out. And what Dr. Pompa was talking about at the beginning of the show is that you crank this fan up just a little bit more, just a tiny bit, to use scientific terms, just a few pascals of pressure more so that you have that pressurized home. So the toxins in your attic and airspace and in your wall space from, especially in new construction, are pushed out. So one sucks fresh air in. They call it the perfect open window. So that's an air exchanger. And then here, this Ultra Air 65H, do you see that? Dr. Pompa, can you see that?
Yeah.
Ultra Air.
I can see it. Yep. Sorry.
Okay, so that is a dehumidification unit that you can put in line if you have room for it. Put it in line right in your, I don't know if it's your return or in your, one of the lines. I'm not sure. Again, I am not a professional HVAC guy, but you can put this in there to make it, to suck the humidity in line, not just a dehumidifier. I'll show you my dehumidifier that I have. It's a really big one, and it does just fine, but this is inline. This is called an Ultra Air 65H because if you could bring humidity down, it has to be below 50%. Anytime you're at 50% or a little higher, you're growing mold, folks. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to be at that humidity if you're on the East Coast or in the South. And you can see over here, can you see the inline connection there?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can. So that's where it's at. And then here's the other side of the other unit, the other 2 tubes on the air exchanger. And I believe this one, let me find the name of it. This is called a Renew Air, RENEWAIRE. Renew Air.
Honeywell makes these things.
Yep.
You know, the one.
All right, I'm getting my butt kicked here.
You can buy them online if you just put ERVs in. They will come up from multiple different companies. You can get them for anywhere between $300 to $1,000. I mean, $2,000, depending on how big of units you need for your square footage, etc. And I think like I said, the ERVs are going to be what most of you need, and to bring in the fresh air. Dehumidification, if you live in very humid areas, I think that having some dehumidification is really wise, especially if you can put it in line like that in the HVAC. Having the system right in your coil, I think, is great. And I love Warren's unit, how he has the OH groups cleaning the air that's coming in. We talked about using carbon to lower chemical input. We talked about just regular HEPA for allergies. So those are your different filters.
I got to show you the chemicals I use to clean your HVAC and mold in your home, and then we can wrap it up. But here's my dehumidification unit. This isn't just a small. This is a portable unit. Oh, and they need to hear about the humidity. This is a dehumidifier. This is like a 90 pint. This is a big boy. Like you can. It's not a small little dehumidifier. This is a big one. I set mine at 30. I don't care if my walls crack. I just want it dry as heck. I don't care. I just don't like mold. So this is what I use. It's a frigid air. It's like a 90 pint. So you can buy humidity less than 50%. That's correct. Got to keep it less. I like to keep mine right around 40 to 45. And there's another, Dr. Pompa knows this. If it's too dry, you can spread viruses more or something like that, you were saying?
Yeah, exactly. I'm too dry. You have, like I said, certain viruses that can, unlike mold that likes moisture, viruses like dry. So that's why you don't want to drop it too much. But again, someone said, Roberta said you said something about 50 or higher have mold. Could you repeat that? Yeah, he did. He just did. Mold will start to form. So that's where you have to be careful. That's why in humid environments, dehumidifying the air, especially in the system, because we don't want humid air being run through our ductwork, because when you get differences in temperature, it can create moisture, especially with humid air. Just like in the summer, think about it. You have a cold glass of water. In humid air, you see all the moisture on the side. In Utah, we don't get that. We don't have that problem, right? In the hot, even if it's 100 degrees, we put cold in a glass of water. We don't get all the wet on the outside because there's not wet in the air. So wet air, especially where there's temperature differences, will cause moisture. So that's why you want to dehumidify the air in your system if you live in that environment.
You ready for some chemicals, Dr. Pompa?
Yeah. So this is how you kill. If you detect or suspect you have mold in your HVAC, it'd be wise, even before you put these systems in, to use these natural killers, these safe killers in your HVAC. And Warren, I
have 4 different kinds. Now, this is where people are going to think this guy's over the top, but you're right. I am over the top. When it comes to my health, when you were sick for 8 years and you couldn't go to church or do anything for at least 5, that you get a little nervous about things. But thank God that I don't live in that fear anymore. But I'm going to show you multiple different chemicals. And I had a chronic cough. Remember that chronic cough I had, Dr. Pompa? Yeah. After I used this product, this isn't like 100% non-toxic. It doesn't have any EPA regulations, or the MSDS is like, if it gets in your eyes, no big deal. But this is not natural. It's more like a chlorine. It's a dimethyl ethylbenzene ammonium chloride. So it's not, we had a susceptibility thing in there.
Hold it up, Warren. You're not holding it high enough. Okay. What's the name?
Bactronics. Yeah. This is a dude that I met, and I didn't want to believe him, but he said this stuff is the best, and I used it, and he fogged my house with it. And again, I got outside. It doesn't smell like anything. It's odorless until it hits an organic compound, then it releases chlorine gas. So I fogged my air ducts with this, and then my air conditioner, we had some issues. It was dirty, so this is the thing that happened. This is a good reason for you to clean your outside air conditioner. When it's not efficient and it's dirty, what will happen is the air exchange isn't great enough to cool down your water. Then you overfreeze your coil, and when you overfreeze your coil, then it melts. It creates water damage in your basement. I didn't show you my basement floor, but I ripped out the carpet. You're not over, Jeff says, you're not over the top. Mold took me out of my office and it pretty much stole your life. So it's good to see you, Jeff. Love you, bro. I was just talking about you today, by the way. Someone was in your town riding bikes, and I'm like, one of my good friends lives there in South Carolina, right? Greenville. So he just came back. I was at the gym with this MMA guy, and he said, I was just in Greenville riding bikes. So I talked about you today. So how ironic. So Bactronics.
Jeff Office.
This stuff, it was the mold killer. So Bactro, this is called Bactro Kill. And this, I had him spray it. My house reeked of chlorine. I had everyone out for several hours because, you know, I believe if you're breathing that gas, it's toxic. But they don't have to wear any personal protective equipment, which is called, because I did this for a living back in the day, guys. That's how I got sick. It's PPE, personal protective equipment. The MSDS means material safety data sheets. And this stuff is really, really non-toxic as far as the government's concerned. But this is not something you want to drink. But if you drank it, you wouldn't die.
What's the other one? What's the other one?
Okay, so this one's really powerful. And here's the common one. Let's go with the non-naturals. And this is the one, concrobium.
You can buy it at Home Depot.
You can buy this at the depot. Now, Bactronics is a better product in my opinion. This product, I don't even think they even list what's in it. But it does kill mold as well. So that works.
Yeah, I have one of those around the house that I just, will spray if I have, water leak or find some, water.
Yeah, anytime you have a water leak, if it's over 24 hours, you have mold. If you don't dry it below that 40-50%, you're mold. So, it was just a small leak and it was, a couple days ago. If you're mold sensitive and you didn't get at it, you grew mold and added more of a source to your problem. So that's the two toxic ones that I've used. I love this product, Bactronics, for cleaning out my HVAC. So to close that loop before you go to the naturals, my cough has been gone ever since I did that HVAC clean. And that's a common, very, very, very common. Benefect, she's going right at it. So she said Benefect. Well, I've used Benefect. Is that my next one? Yeah. So who was that who just said Benefect? I'm going to go after you.
Stacy Weiner, yeah.
Oh, Stacy. Yeah, so Stacy, that's the natural. Of course Stacy knew the right one. Hopefully it was me who told you, but I doubt it because you're a little researcher, Stacy. So Benefect is really good. This company is out of Canada, and this is disinfectant. This is a botanical. It also has not the mold hasn't adapted to these natural killers, and it rocks it. This stuff kind of reeks and sticks around for days because it's an essential oil. Really good. I recommend to really get after the biotoxins is now Benefect is made out of thymol, which is thyme oil, so thymol, and that's the active ingredient. So remember the product for you, it is the essential oil craze out there, but Young Living makes one called Thieves. It has thyme oil in it too, and that's why they say, you don't have to worry about mold, just put this in your air and use a diffuser and but that's not good. It will kill mold though. So Thieves does it, but this is pure thyme oil. And then here's the other one. This is called Benefect 30 Botanicals. supposedly, according to the company, this one's a little bit better and even can wipe out a biotoxin as well. I don't have any studies to show that, but they said if you have, and again, we've said on the previous 2 shows that you should watch what the biotoxin is. It's the mold. Mold fights each other and whips out biological warfare, essentially, and it produces a biotoxin. It's not what you smell. What you smell is a mold VOC. So if someone walks into your home and they smell like mold, that's a mold VOC. Biotoxins are odorless, colorless. They're like anthrax. They just kill you. So
and by the way, I want to answer a question that someone said, what do you do about your clothes from a mold exposure? I'm hearing my echo. Anyways, the clothes, you can just wash clothes, and you can, I'd recommend washing them a few times. You can wipe down hard surfaces. The problem is furniture. Things
right.
like this, that you can't wash.
Porous materials, bad.
Right. The biotoxins will penetrate those coarse materials, and really, once you become overly sensitive, that you cannot bring those things with you. We have people on here that have been from home to home. Their lives are ruined by mold. Jeff, who's on here as a doctor, he just got sick from it, and thank God he wasn't in the exposure. It ends up just wiping you out.
And the nice thing about Jeff, he is a massive action taker. When you said there was mold in there and you needed to get it done, he ripped it all apart and did it. And it's no fun. This is one of the things that we'll talk about maybe on another show, but breaking through resistance. And sometimes it's like, life is too tough and you're beat up and you're sick. But when you take that step of faith and do what you know is right, like removing the source, getting out of a home, selling a car, whatever it takes, it's sometimes those big, hard butt decisions build faith in you and literally save your life.
Trevor asked, is 25% of the population still susceptible to mold? I know that Shoemaker did a lot of the HLA-DR with the genes showing the different susceptibilities. 2% was supposedly very sensitive, 25%, 24%, very, sensitive, but not as bad as the 2%. We, being able to coach hundreds of doctors, we ran a lot of these HLA tests. And, I'm going to be honest with you, we didn't see the same correlations. I think it's more complicated than just the gene. I think other neurotoxic exposures play a massive role. People that were already harboring heavy metals and other traumas, I think genes play a role. I think we're learning more that it's more about other stressors. So, that's my feeling there, Trevor. And that's so. All right.
Dan, a little bit. I want to show you one more little toy. You ready?
Yeah. Remember, you can use these things and fog them. You can get a fogger and put this stuff into your HVAC system. I think Stacy had mentioned fogging, which is absolutely, you can hire someone to do it. Or you can buy a fogger and fog it, turn your HVAC on and bring this stuff through to get rid of the mold. So there it is. There's a fogger he bought online. And
I bought this one on Amazon. It's a 3-nozzle fogger. You put the Benefect in here, right? It has a little dial there. You turn up on high and you blow it in to your return and it sucks it and blows it through your house. Then you run up to all your returns where it's sucking air. Any return, which is essentially where air is not blowing out but going in, and you blow this into those returns. Every single return, you got to hit them all. Let it run for, a couple minutes on each. It'll get a little wet, but that's okay. It's going to dry up and it'll actually disinfect your whole system. So that's really should be. They're not that expensive, so I keep mine and just do it myself because I'm anal like that. But when your air duct people come, they have foggers, and you can actually tell them to use a different chemical than what they have. I switched out with my fogger guys, and I made them do the best in my house. And I actually did both. I'm not going to lie. I did Bactrex, the Bactronics one, let that do it. Then I went back in a second time because when you're killing mold once is never enough. It's just how I roll.
All right. Well, listen, it's, I just want to bring it to a wrap for you guys. It's, no doubt, listen, people are sick because they're still living in an exposure. Many people don't know it. We talked about testing the homes in part one. Just the ERMI option and, mold dogs is an option. But let me tell you something. If you've had a leak and it's been, over 24, especially 36 hours, there's some mold there. And once you become hypersensitive, these small amounts can make you sick. If your basement gets wet or has gotten wet, you have mold. So, again, if we don't stop in the world aren't going to help you. So you got to pay attention to your air. Humidity creates mold. Rewatch it, share it, because what we just gave you is gold, because we would have never got our lives back if we didn't fix our air quality. So, all right, guys. So,
one guy asked us one question. You can stop it, Dan. This is called a tri-jet fogger, TRI-jet. You can get these on Amazon. God bless, guys.
All right, guys. Thanks, Warren. Appreciate it.
You got it. Blessings. Bye.